thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. I mean, I should know this, but I think it's episode 145, if I'm not mistaken. So if it's 144, it is what it is. But really, really cool subject matter. We're very, very passionate about this, but we're talking about having really cool offerings for clients, or pardon me, for donors and supporters at your events, whether they be in person, online, silent auction, live auction, and just so much really, really cool feedback that we've gotten over the last couple of years, but especially in 23. We've got so much data. And we'll talk to you about, what we've seen with our items and our clients and the folks we've had the opportunity and good fortune to partner with. And we'll tell you what we've seen. But this is also going to apply when we're talking about exciting auction items and fundraising tools. This will apply to, I love telling the story about, it doesn't have to be our item, of course, that you can, or one of our items or multiple of our items that you can use to really create some excitement around your event and really inspire donors, to bid and get involved and give more than they even thought they were going to give by attending your event. And the way you do that, is with really, really cool items and really, really cool things for folks to bid on. I hope everyone agrees. We're kind of done with the gift cards and the this and the that and the tangible, we like the lawnmower package and the silent auction. And folks are really, really, becoming more educated about the items that they bid on, and they want to see some excitement. So that's kind of the vein that we're going down, and I will, or the vein that we're speaking in, and I'm going to ask Matt some really, really cool questions about his experience. Now, Matt Ashley, we have the good fortune of having him on our team, but before he was on our team, he actually, ran fundraising events for Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. Matt, how many would you do annually? 40 plus, something along those lines?
Not 40, probably 17-ish, something like
Okay,
that.
pardon me. Okay, gotcha. And so all over, in person, you would run some online stuff as well. So you have a lot of experience. And what was cool about our relationship with Matt is that Matt used to use our trips and experiences. So we're going to speak to that and his experience doing that, because he's been on that side of the table. It's really, really awesome. And Matt got a wealth of knowledge and is a beautiful fundraising mind. And I'm gonna pepper him with some questions. Of course, everyone, thanks so much once again for coming. As you can tell, the chat feature is open. It is. Thank you. Confirmed, Jackie. Episode 145. We've done it feels like the Joe Rogan experience where it's like there's like 1,000 number. It's like episode 1,000 or whatever. Yeah, the 145. It's awesome. So at least we're consistent. We've got a Q&A function at the bottom where you can ask questions. Matt and I will do a good job of monitoring that. If this is your first time here, thanks so much. It's great to meet you and great to see you. This is an interactive webinar series. So this is not your grandmother's webinar where we're just going to toss a bunch of slides up and talk over them. No offense to the organizations that do that, but it's just not very fun for us where we come from. Stay till the end and win. We have a very generous offering that we're doing now every week with the webinar series, and we'll be drawing a winner for some really, really cool prize that we'll connect you with as well. And then if you're watching this as a recording on YouTube, do us a favor, subscribe, leave us a comment, a question, all the above, and do us a favor and share it with someone in your network that might see any value. That's all we're trying to do here is give away our best information away for free. And we're talking about something that we're passionate about, getting into it, man. I mean, we have a lot of really, really cool new offerings, and they don't come with an agenda. They come with experience and data, we offer consignment opportunities where there's a reserve price, so very disparate from your donated items and things like that. And we were just talking about, we have all these new European offerings. We're going to have this new Switzerland offering. I don't really think anyone has that, and the reason why is because it's cool. It will draw a lot of attention and interest at your event. For instance, if you have that type of event where you can sell an item like that, but we believe in donated items. They absolutely work. We think that you need them, okay? But we don't foresee a lot of supporters, board members, committee members, donors, giving you their home in Switzerland to sell at your event. right? So that's where we come in, and then we have an approach. And Matt, I want you to speak to this from your experience, moving experiences and trips and different hunts and stuff like that when you were with Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. We are always speaking about how you need to appeal to the major food groups of trips and experiences and locations. Sure, you need to have a domestic item. I get that. I like to argue that point, back and forth depending on the event. But then a once in a lifetime, huge, a beach destination because, if it was -30 in your neck of the woods, your donors are going to want to go there or they already are. So why not give them the opportunity to buy a beach destination at your event? And then we're really, really bullish on Europe, and we've established some really cool new European options. And the reason being, I'll just go ahead and let the cat out of the bag, is because they raise more money than those other items. So the perceived value of that Switzerland package or one of our European trips to like Copenhagen or Barcelona, the perceived value is much higher than a domestic trip to Las Vegas, for instance, or a drivable distance from your neck of the woods. Now, do you still need those items? Absolutely. Are you going to get donated, a couple night hotel stay in your neck of the woods? Probably, and you need to piece that together in a really creative way. But if you really, really, really want to raise more money, depending on how much you want to raise, having some really cool, experiences like these European options will allow you to raise the kind of money that you're looking to in your silent auction, live auction, raffle. So, Matt, I've done enough rambling, but talk to us a little bit about. I think like what I want to talk about is definitely advertising these items, but just speaking to the logic behind having different destinations, like we call it our food groups, and your
Yeah,
experience with
yeah.
that.
I mean, no, you hit on a lot of great things, Trevor. And I guess, going back to my experience, speaking with leaders of events that I used to work with and my past colleagues, and now, we get the pleasure to work with so many great groups.
Yeah,
It's always, it seems to be there a lot of times a group will want to look at those domestic trips first. And we wouldn't put anything in our catalog unless we believed in it. It's an exceptional experience.
for sure.
But
Yeah,
seems to be that, yeah, we've just realized over time, and it's been eye-opening to me that it's kind of an aspirational, people want to go do something exciting. And
yeah,
I think the US is a little more tangible to go do something yourself.
yeah,
So when you're selling an item, when putting something that's on in a tropical location or something to Europe, we just see it, or we have the benefit of seeing it on our side, working with so many different nonprofits that it's just amazing what those trips, across Europe and really, beach locations are bringing.
yeah.
And a lot of groups will go, we just want, something domestic. And I go,
Right.
you really should consider when you are like you mentioned, you're just offering to one kind of crowd or one food group that's interested in that travel category. And if you can kind of diversify and maybe make some different options, maybe it's a combination between your live and silent auction and a raffle that spread it out and offer some unique opportunities that are exciting and have a chance to appeal to someone that's interested in that. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, you
uh,
spoke to a really good point about how when you go down and you're very myopically focused on just one subset or one type of destination, just like once again, and it sounds like we're putting our thumbs down to domestic, but I'm not. I'm just using it as an example. If you put all your eggs in that basket, there are folks that are going to go, kind of been there, done that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I keep coming back to the Switzerland thing because it's a really interesting option. It's less expensive. There's a couple things very interesting. It's less expensive to ski in Europe right now than it is to ski in Colorado or Utah. And I'm just thinking out loud, like those are probably the most popular, high-end ski destinations that the donor class, quote unquote, at some events would really like to ski to. But another point is maybe money's not an issue for them or what have you if they're buying a live auction item for $10,000 or above or what have you. However, once again, they've probably done that. You know what I mean? They've probably done Utah and Colorado. So giving folks an exciting option. And we're also noticing that at events, it's becoming very, very evident that you have to have an entertaining event. You're putting on a show at the end of the day. Of course, it's completely mission driven, but there's a run of show for a reason. That's why they call it that for a reason. And organizations are getting very, very creative at how they decorate and how they advertise and the experience because you're competing with other organizations. Typically, donors are attending multiple events. Okay. And differentiation is stronger than competition. So create an event that's different, that has different offerings, that has a different entertainment vibe, a different aesthetic, is really drawing a lot of unique attention by donors these days. And that also speaks to the items that you're offering in your silent auction and live auction, as well. So I think that's
Yeah.
something that can't be overlooked, yeah.
Kind of circling that back to the point you made earlier of quality of your event is
Yes.
it's seen in the past where, fundraisers or, volunteers have spent a lot of time going out and getting a lot of merchandise for an event, but
Yes.
some of the stuff they procure or get donations for, and obviously we're grateful for anything a business wants to donate,
Right.
but it's lower kind of ticketed items, the $5 coupons that you mentioned, a discount
Totally.
somewhere. And it's helpful, but I've just seen in the past when you prioritize that time for at least those donations, that category, hey, let's focus on some high quality merchandise, maybe not as much, but some really nice items to set your event off and set the expectation that when your attendees come to your event, they know there's quality stuff there and they're going to go home with something nice. They want to support you, but
Yeah.
buying your tickets pre-event or at the event, they're also not going to go home with a set of concrete gloves or, who knows what it could
The
be,
weed whacker lawnmower set. No offense if anyone's
Right.
using that. You know what I
It's,
mean? We all need them, right? But well,
yeah.
what's interesting, Matt, because you and I worked together for a number of years before, like I said, we had the good fortune of you joining our team. You also noticed that there were folks that were buying items to destinations like Tuscany, the Caribbean, what have you. And because you were traveling around the sun with these folks year after year and working with these different committees and different donor groups, they were coming to the event, the next year going, "Hey, what do you got this year?" Because it was it did have a lasting impression,
It,
with them, right? I mean, speak to that. And now we're seeing one other thing. We're seeing folks at events buy a beach destination and a European destination because in our situation, we give them 2 years to book their travel, just two years to book, not to actually have the trip executed and taken. So folks are leveraging their giving budget with their travel budget at events and buying multiple items. I have never really seen that trend before until this last year. But speak to me about that expectation that folks have is like, okay, once you raise the bar and you got some cool stuff, then you got to keep coming with it, right? Because that's what folks expect, you
yeah,
know?
no, there's so many examples of that. Two that are
Share some
specific.
with us. Share some with
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like you pointed out, it's our job, our hospitality team's job to take care of them and have help them have a great experience. But
Yeah.
it was really cool as a fundraiser to see that of, people were calling me or our leaders of the event itself and saying, like you pointed out, what trips are you gonna have this year? We want
Right.
to buy it through you guys. Our wife and I, my wife and I had a great time last year, and we want to support you and go have another neat experience. So that was just so cool to see. I got a couple to specifically burn in my mind of people that just came to those events every year, and it just came, and they would tell their friends, and pretty soon they'd be going together, groups going together, or they'd buy a bigger package and bring their whole family somewhere.
Yeah.
Another one that was just really neat to see for me is an event we hadn't offered kind of more consignment trips and experiences. They were HGA items at the time. A gentleman walked in the door, and him and his wife were retired. I don't know if I mentioned this before to you,
I don't know
but
if you have. Yeah.
yeah, they bought three different trips and experiences at that event, the one couple, and
Awesome.
we could not find anywhere. We had some cash, raffles and things, cash bar. We couldn't obviously track that, but we couldn't find where they had spent another dollar, anywhere else in the
Wow.
event. So it was really cool because we had something to appeal to their interests.
Yep.
And I asked them, thank you for, coming here, buying three
Yep.
trips from us. And they were retired and they said, we don't really need any more stuff. And they said, more value experiences. And
Yep.
we kind of, just enjoy traveling now. So they were happy to support us and they bought trips after those three as well. So it was
Yeah.
just a
That's
cool
awesome.
thing to see. So, um,
I think that's realistic. I don't think anyone will disagree. Now, are tangible items cool? Absolutely. Like I like arts. I would absolutely, if I had the resources, buy a signed guitar and what have you, and hang it up in my house somewhere, things like that. I love those kinds of items, and we need those kinds of items. But I don't think I'm very far off with that same sentiment that those folks had with, if you don't mind me broad stroking the entire, donor, group that attend any of these events, no matter big or small, because we work with all of them, right? Um, People are valuing experiences more than I can really, tell from the past, right? I think, and everyone's talking about it. And I've got all this, I got like an Eventbrite email this morning, for instance, about how folks are valuing experiences over anything else. I mean, it could be a nice meal with friends. We're also noticing that there's a trend, the data suggests, just with what we book, folks are traveling together in groups more than ever before as well. Don't know. I don't like to go backwards. I don't know if it's a COVID thing. I did pontificate during that time period that psychology dictates that when you take things away from people, they're going to clamor for it even more. I've said that many times before. I did not see. It's astonishing how that rubber band snapped back from a travel perspective, because once again, we have our own hospitality team and we see everything that we book. Everything obviously that sells at events on the front end, how much money is raised, but everything that's booked. So all this stuff is rooted in this data. And we got things over the last year where 400,000 applicants weekly for passports in the United States alone. 400,000 a week. That's wild, right? And then, we're traveling ourselves, and Jason gets to do more traveling, because he doesn't have any kids at home like you and I do, but he's
Right.
he's the one going out and procuring these destinations and creating these experiences with our hospitality team. And everywhere we go, everywhere I've gone, everywhere he goes internationally, the the ports are full. Do you see what I'm saying? Like customs, I went to Puerto Vallarta a couple months ago. I've been there, half a dozen times, never seen it that packed, right? So the writing's on the wall. So we keep speaking to this, not with an agenda for HGA, but just to clarify and to nudge folks and encourage folks to consider really, really cool experiences. Like I said, it could be a really nice meal, and maybe you've never offered anything other than a basket of wine, you know what I mean, is the highest end item at your event. But think about it, you know what I mean, at the very least. Speak to that, Matt. I mean, or what your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, I mean, a ton of great points, Trevor. And like you started off with, I mean, you get probably tired of me saying this. Every event is unique. We see groups
For
that
sure.
every item in their live auction is our trips and experiences, where
Yep.
others I would recommend, I mean, have a good blend of everything. Maybe have a few trips and experiences, have a lot of that, exceptional, unique, high-end merchandise,
Yep.
something that, someone can't go buy at, their local hardware store
Yep.
like
There's
you.
some novelty. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Man, if you can get great trips and experiences donated, get them donated. They're accepted. Make sure you vet them highly, because there's some, that could come into your event. I've seen that, and they just could kind of cause problems on the back end.
Yeah.
Uh, One thing I wanted to bring up, I wanted to kind of talk about selling multiples, I guess, of our items or
Love
any
that.
other that you have in
Yep.
your event. And you can do that, if you have a donor that comes to you and maybe donates, maybe it's a piece of merchandise, maybe it's a trip and experience. Um, don't, I mean, think out of the box, and you might be able to ask that
Love
person,
it.
understand that relationship, but don't go over the edge or further than you should. But one thing that we employed a lot is, we would ask them, thank you, or we appreciate them. Thank you for your donation. We can't thank you enough.
Hmm.
There's a big opportunity for us if this brings a certain dollar amount in the auction. Could we potentially get another one of these from you at a certain price?
Hmm.
Maybe it's retail value. Maybe you could, offer it to us at wholesale if they have access to whatever that item is.
Hmm.
Have that opportunity to not be capped in your auction, because that's one thing that, donated items, you are capped at that one item if you have a
Yeah.
strategy to multiples.
Yep.
That was always something that was exceptional about kind of the consignment model,
Yeah.
Trevor. And we see
Yeah.
groups that do it really well, and some that, just kind of miss some opportunities.
Yeah.
We were talking about one the other day, I think.
Yeah, we
And
did. Yeah.
yeah,
Where the auctioneer didn't want to do it. Totally. And I always want to clarify, if anyone doesn't have any experience with consignment opportunities, I hope everyone understands. And if you don't understand, just put your hand up or what have you, or ask us a question about the cool thing about consignment opportunities is that you have the ability, once again, if you have multiple interested donors, everyone can leave a winner. You're going to raise you're obviously it's a force multiplier, of course, right? So you have the opportunity to not just to sell one. Now we're putting the thumbs down on donated items. We need donated items. And Matt brought up a really eloquent way that you can approach a donor and say, hey, can we get another one? Because this is a really exciting, opportunity. And we're sure we're going to have, we've had multiple donors already ask us before the live auction even started about, hey, what's this all about? This, that, and the other. So really, really cool there. I think that's very important. It sounds minor, but folks do need to approach the folks that donate these items or homes or what have you, and have that conversation just in case you get that lightning in a bottle moment in the live auction, for instance. So these items, these consignment opportunities, though, can be sold multiple times in the live auction. They can also be sold multiple times in the silent auction. So, Matt, talk to me about doing that in the silent auction. And then I also want to talk about why that's a good place to put items if they don't, if you've never used consignment opportunities, or they're not going to fit in your live auction with your crowd, a certain destination, or maybe you're not even having a live auction. Talk to me about your experience with the silent selling multiples, and we'll talk about exposure as well.
Yeah, no, obviously, look at your live auction first. That's the biggest opportunity. It's
Yep.
the most demand and excitement and some egos and, the
True story.
spotlight in the
Yeah.
room. Like you brought up, sometimes, maybe your event just doesn't support, a higher ticket consignment item, or maybe you want to put one in the live, it makes sense,
Yeah.
but you want some of that diversity and it makes sense to put a couple in the silent to spread some things out in the room. Multiple ways to sell things, multiple times in the silent. I've tried a lot of them, I guess. I
Yeah.
was,
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I want
kind
to
of
hear.
always
Let's get in the weeds. Yeah.
experimenting
Yeah.
and trying to find the best way. What I found, I believe that worked the best for me was when we had a silent auction, I would like to mix some consignment items within
Hmm.
that silent auction, kind of throughout it. And some people would have some hesitation. Hey, we're putting this, three, four, $8,000 item next to an item that's a $20 item in the silent
Yeah.
auction. Maybe not that low, but
Yeah.
there's a big discrepancy in something that, volunteers and attendees just weren't used to seeing side by side in the silent. But what I found over time is they sold, and it gave us an opportunity to sell them when we might not have elsewhere in the live. And we always recommend, make sure you're marketing it up. So if it does sell and you had one bid, hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully you have
Yeah.
lots of excitement.
Yeah.
Bring,
Explain that a little more in detail for folks that don't have experience with that. So you have a reserve price with a consignment item. So it has
yeah,
to hit this mark. Let's say it's $2,000. You open the bidding, you're talking about marking it up. You're opening the bidding above that reserve price. So the minute you get a bid, you're in the money. So kind of talk to folks about how you go about that, and then selling multiples as well. Yeah.
yeah, and up to you on what you start that at. But as in that example you provided, we try not to do public math, but $2,000, if that was the cost of the item, maybe you start that at $2,500. It's
Yeah.
25% above cost. And then hopefully it runs up, significantly above that. But we want you to make money, on
Hmm.
art items, any items you have in your event. We don't want you breaking even or losing money for all your time invested for your organization. So yeah, that's kind of best practice. But I've tried multiple things and selling them in the silent. We tried offering them, hey, it's kind of a buy it now, and they're all
Love
this price.
that. Yeah.
Uh, it worked some. I had a lot better success with really selling them as a normal silent auction, and then offering to, really, if you have time in your event, offering it to that second person.
Yeah. The
Checkout.
backup bidder or under bidder. Yeah. Let's use
Yeah,
that $2,000 illustration. Opening bids 2,500. Of course, we need multiple bidders to drive that cost up. Let's just say the winning bid amount when you closed it was at 36 because you got $100 bidding increments. So we can get in the science of this, and you can sign up for a coaching call if you have an item, whether it's a consignment opportunity or not. We can kind of coach you up because there is a science to it. It's not, you don't need a PhD, but let's just say with this illustration, the winning bid amount was $3,600 for this really cool beach destination. And you have underbidders at 35 and 34. So three people were driving that cost up, and the eventual winning bid amount, quote unquote, was 3,600. So you would probably proactively, I'm assuming it's just going to take communication, approach the underbidders or backup bidders that were at 35 and 34. You meet them where they're at. I've seen folks go, we'll cut it, go right down the middle and give it to everybody at 35. Are you good at 34? Are you good at 30? That kind of stuff. Like, I'm sure it works out differently per event because, as you mentioned, every event's so unique, and it's so true. but that's kind of how that would play out, right?
Exactly. So in that
Yeah,
example, how I handled it, I would back that down to the $3,400 amount.
perfect.
So we
Yep,
net hopefully 1,400 for three individuals.
beautiful.
We're netting $4,200 in that case,
Yep,
as opposed to selling one at 3,600 and we're
and
netting.
netting 16. Yeah, exactly. Yep,
Yeah,
perfect.
it's
Yep.
such a underutilized opportunity, and we see
Oh
it
man.
probably more so in the live auction. That
Yeah,
I mean, you could sell it for a few hundred more dollars, or you could sell multiples at a
at a
there's a
lower
there's a
price
fine
point.
line to balance, and you need to know, hey, this is enough for us.
Mm-hmm.
The best auctioneers are able to read the crowd and see how many people are participating.
Yep.
I would give them a range of, hey, if it gets above this price point, try to keep going. People are
Mm-hmm.
supporting us, but read the crowd and try not to lose anybody that's still active at that price point.
Yep.
And we might, in
Yep.
this range, it makes sense to sell as many as we can, six of them, eight
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly more profitable, for you and your organization than selling one at a few $100s more, for
That's the
example.
point. At the end of the day, that's kind of the point. We have organizations now that literally will not choose items unless they know they can sell it multiple times. They'll do, surveys pre-event with folks that have bought auction items at previous events, and they'll get feedback and this and that. And if they don't have multiple interested, donors, bidders, buyers, supporters, they won't even put the item in their live auction unless they know they can sell it multiple times. So I think
Right.
that's pretty cool. Backtracking to the silent auction, this is something I talk to folks about all the time. It's very easy for us, once again, we don't spend a lot of time talking about what, our products, especially on the webinar, but this is a very nice, wide lens as to why you should have experiences and whatnot at your event. Just the market's telling us that. That's the obvious part, right? Um, I talk to folks all the time about exposure. Now, what I mean by that is folks go, I've never done this before. This, that, I don't know if my room can handle that. Or if I have donors in the room that will pay $3,600 for an item. And tell me if I'm off, but instead of us coaching folks up on, okay, you need a good live auctioneer and you got to hire that person and we got to make sure we nail it. We'll say things like, hey, let's put some unique experiences. Let's put a half a dozen unique experiences in your silent auction. Okay. We'll open the bidding up at 25% above the reserve price. So the minute you get a bid, you're in the money. Okay. But when I say exposure, there is none. You've printed a poster. Maybe
Right.
you created a bidder sheet. Maybe you're using mobile bidding software, and the exposure is exceptionally limited, if any at all. Because if you don't get any bids, let's just say we're off, and you're in that one area where people don't like to go anywhere or experience things. Heaven forbid. But if you get no bids, you've lost nothing with consignment opportunities. It costs you nothing. There's no upfront cost. You printed the poster and taken the time and put it on your silent auction table or what have you. So speak to that. I mean, we don't want that to happen, but that's the truth. It's just there's no exposure, right? So there's only opportunity. It's not even opportunity cost. It's just opportunity net positive.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And maybe it makes sense to try it and test the waters. We've seen groups try it in the silent auction and they couldn't believe how much participation they had.
Hmm.
And, the next year down the road, they have several planted in their live auction where they're confident, their crowd has a big interest in it. But yeah, like you said, it's really no risk. It's a little bit of time to put that stuff out there, maybe a little real estate in the room. But the upside for the square footage of fundraising space that
Mm.
those items are taking up. I mean, the per dollar, per square foot opportunity there is just incredible.
Yeah.
And how many, we sold in the silent auction in the organization I was with. And it was just time after time, events that, we're in, our attendees aren't that type of people. They don't like to travel, they're, this is a really rural community,
Yeah.
but it was just incredibly surprising. And I think part of that is probably the other events in your town aren't offering those type of unique items.
Differentiation. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. So there is a demand, and there's always a percentage of people in the room that have a
Yeah.
travel budget, and
Yeah.
that's their thing. They want to go experience something unique.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that. Like you said, very rural at a lot of the events that you were at, and we were like, "Hey, this is why this is good data. This is working." You know what I
yeah,
mean? But well, I think we're just playing to the human experience, to human nature, and the psychology dictates that, yeah, I mean, that's what folks wanted. And the market, that's our job, is to pay attention to the market, right? When you're a fundraiser, when you're in our shoes, you pay attention to the market. The market tells you things. You get all these signs and signals, and whether or not you want to pay attention or not is entirely up to you, right? Um, there's another side of this where if you're not advertising your events well in advance, and if you're not doing it the right way, and if it's not exciting for donors and it's getting stale after a few years, and you're not making these changes, having experiences like I've got a really cool story of a friend of ours, Paula, who had some George Strait tickets donated, and then she just went for it and got a hotel, donated, and dinner and all that, and put together this really, really cool item. Well, we were just pushing her, hey, advertise that. You know what I mean? Advertise that well in advance that that item's going to be there. And I think also when I talk about exposure, let's just say back to my illustration, this does not happen very often. We don't experience a lot of attrition, thankfully, for our clients. But if you don't get any bids, so be it. But you've got this really rockin' poster with this awesome destination that you were able to advertise pre-event. Like, this is the kind of stuff that we're going to be having for you to bid on. I think that the advertising piece of it, not the night of, but the advertising piece of it that you can do on social, your auction website, email blast, text blasts, if hopefully you're using all of that, because, we are over indexed digitally, but your donors are seeing this information come through in one of those channels, whether it be social, your website, email, text, auction site, the whole nine. The power of having these really unique destinations and imagery and video, that we provide, for instance, is huge. I think it really can be overlooked, but it's really helpful.
No, 100%. You hit the nail on the head. And all that is an opportunity without any risk. It's an advertising opportunity, hopefully, to help you recruit, more people to your event because they're
Yeah.
excited. They're really unique and experiences there.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah, leverage consignment items in addition to any of those high-end merchandise items at your event, and showcase how it's unique in your
Absolutely.
marketing. So
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah, I love, from a marketing perspective. I'm so bullish on it. We had a friend on from Atlanta. He's a live auctioneer. Dean Crownover was talking about high traffic areas after check-in, having posters, live auction item preview posters, on as folks are walking into the event itself. Uncanny. I think it's a huge point. It should be done. And so there should be just no mystery, right? Of course, because folks are going to be figuratively looking pre-event and packing their bags. You know what I mean? We're,
uh,
developing itineraries before they've even bought the item, so to speak. You know what I mean?
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
We missed a question here from Kim Keegan. She had a
Yeah,
question.
I saw that. I was holding on to it actually because let's talk about the golden ticket. I mean, there's obviously the golden ticket is a concept and a strategy more than it is just an item. But for us, it's become this it's become the easiest way that we know that you can raise money. You know what I mean? So Matt, you've sold more golden tickets and done more drawings and stuff like this than I've ever done. Talk about how you would structure it. I mean, I don't know if Kim had a specific question about our destinations with it or anything like that, but our golden ticket, the easiest way that I know to raise money. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So going back to, I mean, earlier in the conversation when we talked about diversity, this, in addition, we need to talk about the vacation passports, which I'm really excited about, the Europass. But
yeah,
this golden ticket allows you, it's a raffle, but it allows you to offer, multiple destinations from around the world, domestic, international, kind of once in a lifetime somewhere on a beach, without even that risk in the live or in the silent, or maybe it's in
yeah,
addition to those offerings that you do. We recommend, what we've had a ton of success with is a higher ticket value, higher odds of drawing. So we always offer that, or recommend offering it. Hey, 100 tickets at $100, or we have another offering that's a more premium level trips we have set up ready to go. That's 100 tickets at $250. Kind of
yeah,
the market materials we have made up. But when people have a chance to win a really unique experience, and the odds they know the odds. It's not hey, we don't know how many you're going to sell. It's really tangible, and those
yeah.
tickets sell really easy. So yeah, I'm a big fan of those.
Great advertising piece, Great way. Kim, does that help? I hope that helps. Great way to
Yeah,
raise money pre-event. We highly recommend selling tickets, golden tickets early, announcing the winner at your event. If you have a live auction, we recommend doing it before the live auction. There's all sorts of great ways that you can leverage the golden ticket, for instance, as a sponsorship or underwriting piece as well. If you can get it sponsored or underwritten, let's just say it's our $100 golden ticket. The reserve price is $2,500. You sell 100 tickets for $100. You raise 10,000. So you're netting $7,500 with one item. It's a very digestible price point, like Matt said. Matt and I agree on this wholeheartedly. We're very big believers on having different price points throughout your event and appealing to different budgets. You know what I mean? That folks have. Yeah.
I
And you
I love. Oh,
go ahead.
sorry, I didn't cut you off. I
No,
love
go.
like the golden ticket when we had, volunteers going out in the communities searching out donations. When
Yep.
we had something like the golden ticket where, hey, maybe that business didn't have something to contribute, but hey, $100 for a chance to win a vacation,
Yeah.
they're motivated to give in different ways, and that might appeal to them. So we had something, in their hand to offer them. And a
Yeah.
lot of times we'd have those sold out before the event, or
Yeah.
maybe we'd spin up another one for the event if they were all
Totally.
gone.
Yep.
So
Yep. A
very,
lot of
very.
excitement. It's really cool. Kim, also, I mentioned I prefaced it with it's a concept and a strategy. We have a great turnkey, golden ticket. We have a few great turnkey golden ticket items already built out that we already have the data to suggest they work. Anything could be a golden ticket, though, as well. So once again, I use that example with our friend Paula, who had the George Strait tickets, and she came on the webinar and asked us, I have got these George Strait tickets. Where should I put them? And should I put them in the live auction? And I said, well, I mean, sure. What's the most, and Jason, because he's smarter than me, said, what's the most anything's ever gone for in your live auction? And she said, like, $4,500 or something along those lines. And he's like, you should make it a golden ticket and sell it. You can be flexible. You can be creative. You can sell 100 tickets for 100. You can sell 100 for $200 a piece. You can sell 100 for 250. We've seen folks do golden ticket raffles with a $500 ticket price and only offer 50. Folks love I use this term loosely, Matt. Maybe you could correct me with the better term, but the gambling aspect or the supply and demand or scarcity aspect. Oh, there's only 100 tickets available, that kind of thing. But anything does not reach the reserve. That's a good question. Anything could really be used as a golden ticket. Well, we like to look at break-even points, Kim, answering Kim's question about if it doesn't hit the reserve. If it's a consignment opportunity item, in this case, with our $100, golden ticket option at $2,500 reserve, you break even at 25 tickets sold. So we're going to highly recommend that you don't open ticket sales up a day before your event. As a matter of fact, I've got another illustration I want to share with you about some success that we've seen recently. But at 20, I mean, if you haven't done a raffle in the past, or if you're going to have an event with 40 people, I could see the trepidation. If you're going to have an event with 300 people and you can advertise and give folks the opportunity to buy tickets pre-event on your mobile bidding site, for instance, or, through some other e-com site that you have built up for your organization, I highly doubt you'll have a difficult time, hitting that 100 mark. Another thing, if you hit the 80 mark, you know what I mean? You're still netting $5,500. That's a huge win. I'll quit rambling, but I have one more illustration about this and how effective I think it is at pre-event fundraising, even if you're not getting the golden ticket underwritten or sponsored, which is super easy to do as well with supporters locally. But we had an organization take our premium golden ticket reserve price of $4,000, sell 100 tickets for $250 a piece is how it's structured. And this organization, a small school, this organization is having an event in March, and they opened up the golden ticket purchasing opportunity in December. And they sold $6,500 in tickets in like the first 2 weeks. Okay. Their event's not till March. And by the first of the year, they had already raised $6,500 with golden ticket sales. Now, we're not going to invoice them until after the event, okay, for the item after they draw the winner and we get in touch with the winner with our hospitality team. What is $6,500 pre-event clear to your organization worth? I was sharing that with the mobile bidding company that is handling their event. and just sharing the success and like, clapping out loud. It's like, man, what a cool story of getting money in the door pre-event. I said, what's that worth? That just paid for your AV system. That just paid for the, you know what I mean? Like, I just think leverage and the exposure and the advertising and all these things, it equated into real dollars for the org. So, or for the school in this case, man, it was massive. I just thought it was so cool,
100%. And yeah, I think we get more people reaching out to us that have picked, using the golden ticket that's selling faster than they than they think they
Anticipated.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
anticipated then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, speak with your team. I would say make sure everyone's has a plan. We can help you. We work with so many organizations that offer these. We can help you make a plan.
Yeah.
We'll tell you if we don't recommend it. Hey, this might not be a good thing for you.
Totally.
But yeah, make a plan, make sure people are committed, break up those tickets and pretty easy to move that number of tickets. And
Yeah.
like you put out a incredible return on your investment and time.
Yeah. It's
So
super, super cool. With that higher ticket item, they're going to sell 100 tickets. They're going to raise $25,000.
wow,
Another illustration, we have an organization that sells the $100 price point because they listen to me and Matt, and they understand the value of having different price points and different budgets. They sell the $100 golden ticket and the $250 golden ticket,
very
and they
cool.
raised $35,000 with two items alone at their event, and they're doing it again this year. That was last year, so really, really cool. Also, you're playing the long game. We talked about conditioning your donors to having these great experiences available at your event. Maybe they pass on year one, but if you got them there again year two, you're going around the sun and it's okay, I'm in this year. You never know, but it's when you do that, it's equating into thousands of dollars for you, for your organization over time. So think about that when because you are playing the long game, especially with donors and these relationships and opportunities. Speak to
Well,
that.
we've
Yeah.
gotten a lot of requests for it. We just launched it. I don't know if you've mentioned it on here already, but
Let's
the
talk about
golf
it.
golf
Yeah.
golden ticket is exciting to me. I think that's just something else that's unique. If your community is a big golf community, it's just something else that you can offer. We have that kind of prepackaged and available now. So
Yeah.
I'm excited
Super
to see how that
turnkey, super fun. Yeah. Yeah.
goes.
Um, any questions about experiences, the most popular destinations that we see, things like that? Any questions about consignment opportunities? Any questions about, where you can best place to use a donated item, like I keep using the George Strait illustration, which just worked out so well. Any questions for us or anything like that while you got us? I'm just giving you a call for questions if you got it. Okay. Oh, Jackie asked, I don't see the Switzerland trip because it's coming. It's really coming. So it's really cool. And yeah, I'll just go ahead and say we visited, a representative from HGA visited. We're putting it together, Jackie. I appreciate you asking. It's going to be very, very exciting. It's going to be something like that I haven't seen anywhere else. I don't really pay attention to what other consignment opportunity or consignment companies are doing, frankly. Sorry. But it's going to be really, really cool. So it's coming. We've got some we quadrupled down. Matt, you can talk about it because you developed it, or had a really big hand in developing it. But we've got some really cool new European options. We actually, I believe that donors love options because at the end of the day, donors are consumers. Consumers love options, and we shouldn't overthink it. But we created this really cool new item, the Euro Pass. Talk to that while we got you.
Yeah, I love diversity just like you, and it's just
Yeah.
allowed you, sometimes you're probably tired of me saying this the third time I've said it on this.
No, I
Every
want to hear it.
event's
Yeah.
different. Every event's different. So you want to
Yep.
cater, the items of your event to your crowd and to what your auction structure is. If we put, the groups that I used to work with, if we had a bigger auction, and we were putting more trips and experiences in the auction, I like to kind of spread things out and maybe have, really put a high focus on that trip that's domestic, that trip that's, international, and that trip that's a beach. But you might not have that opportunity to put, many items in your live or want to try that many items the first time you offer it, not knowing. So our vacation passports and our Euro Pass give those winners 24 months to decide between, Europass is 3 different amazing destinations across Europe, and the
Yep.
vacation passports. We have 2 of them now, which are both
Yeah.
acceptable. It's 4
Yeah.
destinations.
Yeah.
Um, they're just great items, and they're exceptional for those multiple sales opportunities because you're appealing to hopefully every interest in the room, or a broad interest of people that might have an interest to travel to one of those destinations. Um, Gosh, yeah, so we saw one just recently that it was the auctioneer got it up to $1,500 above that reserve cost and sold 10 of them. And we see that all the time. And
Yeah.
it was a $15,000 net profit.
Yeah.
And it's just a great opportunity when you have that appeal to hit all those
Yeah.
uh, tastes, I guess, in that. So
What we offer with our just, piggybacking on all that,
yeah.
we offer a built-in itinerary.
Hmm.
It's you know what I mean? All you got to do is give us a destination and your dates. You know what I mean? And we give folks tremendous flexibility. If you are working with another consignment company or anything like that, or have a relationship, make sure you get a lot of this data collected and ask the right questions. We can coach you up on those questions. We're totally okay with you not using HGA products as much as we'd love to help, but we're here to help regardless. And I did mention at the onset of the webinar that we're here to give our best information away for free. That's the truth. 145 episodes in. And so we can help you with any of that. We can help you with placement as well in your event. If you want to go to hafundraising.com, click on the coaching button. If you're watching this live or watching it as a recording, we'll spend a half hour with you, hour with you, talk about best placement, best practices, stuff like that. And that's what we're here for. Bev had a really good question. Thanks so much, Bev, about if I'm using mobile bidding software, how do I, when I'm selling multiples, let's just say in the silent, I'm assuming where the question came from or was directed towards, how can I determine who the second and third bidders are? Someone's running your event, like Morgan, for instance, Bev, who I know from our team who's helped, right? Someone's running your event and they have that data. Now, Matt, we can talk about this. I think you have to quote unquote strike while the iron's hot. So if you
100%.
got those bidders in the room that are the under bidders or backup bidders for the item, the two and third bidders, which is very, very common, you're going to want to approach them, but you have that data at your event. You have that dashboard. You can see where all the bidding is happening and by who based on bidder number. So I hope that helps answer your question, Bev. But that is the way that I would go about it. And I would do it immediately at the event. I'd have a conversation or someone from my organization have that conversation about the item being available, So
100%. And yeah, I was thinking the same thing because if you
yeah,
wait till Monday to reach out to those people, the excitement's really gone.
I
They've
think so.
wasn't tangible. It wasn't in their hands right then.
Yeah, yeah,
And I attempted that, and the fall off was just incredible of people that
yeah,
wanted to, commit to that price that they even committed to that night. So if you can
yeah,
find a way to speak with your provider, if you can catch those folks that night,
yep,
I mean, very few people will turn it down. They want to support you. They bid up to that amount.
yep.
Uh, and it's worth your time to find, time during the event to take
No
advantage of
question.
the opportunity.
No question. Um, Couple thing. Any questions at all? Live auction, silent auction, items, destinations, anything like that. Oh, Jackie, thanks for the feedback. I'm excited too. I think it's really, really cool. About Switzerland. So I'm excited. I'm excited for you. Yes, and then Bev, great point. Bev said I need 2 or 3 volunteers assigned to coordinate. Absolutely. I think that's really, really huge. You nailed it. And good question, Kim. Our trips do not include flights. I would have a little bit of trepidation about items that do. One, price point, so it's cost prohibitive. Two, typically not going to be of the highest quality in as far as coach versus business class, so to speak, right? Okay, because the organizations that are offering flights included, there's going to be some restrictions, and then they're going to be asking your donors for more money to upgrade. Okay, so it's not exactly the most turnkey solution. Very fair question. Like I said, cost prohibitive, and then folks these days that we notice with travel, with our hospitality team, we don't get a ton of feedback about flights because folks have their flights managed so well right now. I just know with my own experience, Matt flies a lot, Jason flies a lot. We have like our preferred provider. I've got my miles. I've got, you know what I mean? I've got some folks have credit card points with one provider. They just love it. And if we pigeonhole folks into with one provider or one cost or one class of flying, I just, my trepidation is I don't want to upset donors, right? I don't want a bunch of hoops for them to jump through and extra money. And that's why I'm not a big believer in like offering items that are attached to like vacation club pitches and things like that. I think that just we've had so much experience over the last, almost 8 years doing this that we got to make it really, really easy for the donor to understand, for them to make a decision, a tremendous amount of flexibility, with expiration and things like that. And then, yeah, not jumping through a bunch of hoops and unknowns and stuff like that. I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps. But great question. Any other question or any other stuff that's top of mind, Matt, that you want to mention?
No, Beverly just added that it sounds
Okay.
like two or three volunteers.
Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah, I mean, whatever makes sense for your event, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe one person. I think it's really worth your time to, maybe it is two or three, but at least one, if they can focus, if you have consignment opportunities in your silent auction or live
Hmm.
auction. I mean, live auction, have those,
Yeah.
have your system ready,
Yeah.
is a big tip. Is your online system, or if you do hard copy, signature sheets, be prepared so you're ready when that takes place, or silent auction.
Yeah.
So there's not lag time and you're ready to take payment, or, have them sign a receipt if your state requires that.
Totally. Yeah.
But it's very worth your time to look at those opportunities for
It's
multiples
thousands
where,
of dollars. It's
oh,
thousands of
wow,
dollars.
incredible
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, What else? I had some other point I wanted to make. So a lot of folks say, "Oh, I don't do a live auction anymore. We just do the fund to need because I don't want to pull from people's fund to need and giving." I'm going to tell you right now, you can listen to whoever you want about that. Those are different budgets. So folks that have, I'm going to commit this amount of dollars to the fund to need or whatnot, or you're just worried about having high ticket value, high value items in your live auction, completely disparate, pulling from different budgets and different pools of money. So whoever's, if once again, you can listen to whoever you want, but there's this trend out there where it's, oh no, we don't want to do too much. Different, completely different, and disparity as far as different pools that you're pulling from. And so giving your donors, especially when they can afford high value trips and experiences in the live auction, giving them that opportunity is strong. A great, great point from a guest that I've mentioned before. So pardon me for being a broken record, was when you have high value items, and I mean high value for your event. Once again, there's um, you know, they're not all ubiquitous, of course, right? So high value items. Let's just say someone was bidding on an item and they didn't win. Could be a donated item, could be a consignment item, and but they were bidding, $3, $4, $5,000. Let's just say you've never met them before. Let's just say they've never given at that level at your event before or to your organization. You've just identified if they didn't buy anything at the end of the day, but they were bidding their paddles in the air, or you saw their number come across your dashboard. They were willing to give $3, $4, $5,000 to your organization in that moment because you had that item. Think about the power that that creates. You know what I mean? So there's so much that could be your next committee member. You might have never met that person before. Maybe they did buy it for $7,500 in your live auction. They were a guest. What's that worth to you from a relationship standpoint into your organization, not just monetarily? So think about that and how you can leverage those relationships and those opportunities, and think outside the box. I mean, that's your time. Oh, back to the point with volunteers. We also, I think volunteers are great, Bev, at solidifying those answering those questions and solidifying those purchases and what have you. We know organizations that don't break the bank that will literally send folks to your event that are exceptionally well versed in check in, check out, any software platform, silent auctions, live auctions, and that you can hire them literally to help, and they don't break the bank. So we can make that recommendation as well, where you can have folks for what you get value wise to get these folks at your event that can actually help you handle that and make sure there's no friction with check in and check out, and they're answering questions about the silent auction and things like that. We have recommendations that we can make with a really lovely organization that can help you there if you ever need people, so to speak, boots on the ground. So I hope that helps. Any last call for questions? I don't have the fancy wheel of fortune thing that Jason had last week, but I did get a message with someone from our marketing team about who the winner is. We did do a random drawing for a winner, but I'm gonna do a last call for questions if anyone if anyone has any about any experiences or something. And once again, another reminder, reach out to us anytime. It's Matt at HGAfundraising.com. I'm Trevor at HGAfundraising.com. There's the free coaching button on our website. Super easy. Our time is free. There's no strings attached. Obviously, you can tell we love talking, maybe some of us more than others about this stuff, but we're here to help. So last call for questions. And Matt, thanks so much. Anything that you had that you're thinking about that we didn't touch on possibly?
No, I think we covered it. No, thanks for having me on. Thanks everybody for
Okay.
joining us. Like you said, let us know if you have any questions. We're here to help and
Yeah.
want to point you towards success. So let us know what we
Yeah.
can do to help.
Appreciate that. And I appreciate your time, brother. So here it is. I got a winner. It's Sandy Goranson. Sandy, you have won $300 in HGA bucks that you can use towards an item at your next event. And we'll be in contact with you. Someone from our team within the next 24 hours will be in contact with you about that prize that you can use whenever you want. And if you have any questions about it, that person from our team will be happy with bells on to spend time with you and answer any questions that you have. So, Sandy, congratulations on the HGA bucks. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. Please do us a favor. Oh, thank you, Jackie. Awesome to have you again. And yeah, thank you, everyone. Enjoy your afternoon. Come join us next week. Oh, we're going to talk. We've got a special guest next week as well, next Thursday. So you won't want to miss it. Noon Central, as always, episode 146. But wrapping this one up, thanks everybody so much. Sandy, congratulations on winning. Good to see some new names and some familiar names as well. And enjoy your day. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. Thanks, Matt. Beautiful stuff, brother. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Trevor.
Bye, everybody.